Hello and welcome to Table Scraps. I'm your host, Ben Mandelker. Today I am talking about the 18xx genre. If you've never heard of the 18xx genre, you might be thinking, is that porn? It's not porn, it's a type of board game. And I want to tell you why you should be playing it because I'm always doing an elevator pitch on these types of games. So if you've been curious about them, if you don't know what they are, but you've heard about them and want to know more, if you've heard terrible things about them, I want to demystify them. I want to inform. I want to help you out. Help me help you get into this amazing series of games. Here to help me out, I actually have a member of the genre, a huge name in their own right. It's a copy of 1817. Hi, 1817. How are you doing today? So good to see you. Wow. Oh, that's very exciting. I didn't know you knew Nicole Kidman, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Well, please send her my love. Tell her that I'm a huge fan. Huge. So 18xx. If you're a board gamer, you may have heard about it somewhere along the way. If you're not a board gamer, you may be like, what the hell is that? It sounds very risque. It's not risque. 18xx games are some of my favorite games in all of board gaming. It's probably my favorite subset niche genre of board games. I'm totally obsessed with them. I got into 18xx games during the pandemic when the world shut down. My friends and I would play them online, and that they got me through the darkest periods of shutdown. I really do believe it. These games gave us a way to connect and have fun. And it's a testament to how good these games are that they could help really during a time of true crisis. So I love them. And I don't love them just because I went through a dark period of history with them, but they definitely helped in that way. But I love them because they're so fun. They are incredibly fun games, but there's also a lot of misperceptions around them and confusion. And I want to sort of strip that away if I can. So let's talk a bit about what these 18xx games are. They are a game system, but basically designer Francis Tresham in the 70s came up with a game 1829, and it had to do with trains and things like that. That's what all these games are, by the way. They're almost all about trains. In the 80s, he revised his concept with a game called 1830, which was a huge hit. And 1830 is still extremely popular. It is still played ravenously to this day. It is the one that really made the 18xx genre pop. It is the one that people sort of see as like, that is the 18xx game. That is the main one. So even though it's not the first one, technically it is the one that got everything rolling. And then what happened was he, as well as other designers, started doing their own variations on 1830. Like, hey, what if we had 1830, but it was in a different setting? And what if we took this game and add this little tweak to it? And maybe we added this little twist to it and added this feature and took away that feature. And as people played with all these different variations of 1830 and came up with their own games in their own rights, that's what gave us the system of 18xx. So some of you probably don't even care. And that's fine. I just know that if there are people who, are 18xx purists, and they would be very furious at me if I didn't give any little spiel, any background. But I'm also going to say this, the people who are purists, you're just going to have to calm yourself for the next part of this video, really probably till the end. I am speaking to the people who don't really know what these games are about. So these games are largely train games, and I'm going to stop saying things like largely or usually or mostly because there's so many different versions of these games and they play around with the concept so much. Like most of the games have, X, Y, and Z in them, but then there's this one game that doesn't. And so there's always going to be exceptions. So everything I say about these games is largely going to be based off of concepts that you're going to find in 1830. So here's what the game is. Is everyone ready? 1817, are you ready for me to tell you about yourself? Okay. 1817 is an 18xx game. Because by the way, they're called 18xx games because almost all of them. See, I can't help myself. I have to always say almost all of them. But 1817, they start with an 18. So 1830, there's 1817, 1841, 1828, 1861. They all have 18s. Although there is a 21 moon. I can't help myself. I have to talk about the exceptions sometimes. But that's why they're called 18XX, because the XX is like, well, just put in a different year. So these are basically train games, but they're not train games. I'm lying. These are investment games, okay? These games are all about making money. How do we do that? Let me explain. You see, we have a central map with a bunch of cities on it, and people live in those cities and they work and they do very exciting things. But imagine the money that could be made by connecting those cities with railroads and letting commerce flow. That's the sort of business opportunity you are seeking out in an 18XX game. So what does this actually mean in terms of gameplay? Well, players get to control train companies, and as a person controlling a train company, you will build rails between cities, and you will buy trains, and you will send those trains from city to city down the train tracks, and you're just going to make sweet, sweet revenue for the company. Cold, hard cash. Now, if that's all the game were, like, awesome, cool, like, super fun, like, we build a network, make money off of it, like, yay, like, that's fun. But here's where it gets funky. All these train companies that the players control are public. They live on a stock market. And what that means is that you and the other players can buy and sell shares in each other's companies. How cool is that? So now you're not just concerned about running a really good train company, you're also paying attention to everyone else's train companies, because if someone's making more money than you, then invest in them, right? And you can do that. Now, if you own the most shares of a company, then guess what? You actually become the company's president. And that's how you wind up controlling a train company in the first place, which is important because now you get to lay tracks and place train stations and buy trains and basically make a shit ton of money for your company. And you want to do that because you want your company to do well, but also as a player, that's just like fun stuff to do at the table. So basically, there's a loop here. When you buy shares, money goes into the company, and then the company uses those funds to grow its operations. And then the more revenue the company makes, the more money goes back to the investors, aka you, who can then reinvest all over again into either your company or Nicole Kidman's company. And your wallet will grow, and so will your portfolio. And at the end of the game, whoever has the highest net worth is going to win. Invest, build, invest, build. And right there, all of that right now is a very simplified look at how these games operate. You try to generate as much revenue as possible. You try to pay it back to your shareholders as much as you can. And as you do that, the value of the company goes up, which means the value of your stocks go up, but there will be road bumps along the way. There will be drama along the way. People will try to muscle you out of your best route. They will try to take over your revenue. They will try to take over your company. You start off with small trains, you get bigger and bigger and bigger trains, then they make the smaller ones obsolete. It's called rusting. If your company is without a train, then you're obligated to get a new train for it. But what if you don't have enough money in the treasury? And it is very, very fun. So here are 6 things you need to know about the 18XX genre. Okay, I want to dispel some myths. I want to dispel some preconceived notions. I want to dispel some concerns you may have. Okay, number 1, you don't have to like trains to like an 18XX game. Okay, I don't care about trains. I'm not a train person. I'm not someone who puts on a little conductor hat and does model trains in my attic. I don't go to like historical reenactment train fairs. I mean, I've been to train museums. They're fun. And I've gone to even model train museums. They're nice. I like riding a train. I actually really like riding a train. I really enjoy that a lot. But you don't have to be a train person to like this game. The train is just, it's like a setting. If you like trains, all the better. That makes it even sweeter, but you don't have to like trains is what I'm saying. So if you're not a train enthusiast, don't worry. It's all good. And that may also bring us to another point that's really important, which is this theme, this train theme, historical train theme, is way more vibrant than it may seem. So again, if you are into, historical trains things, then you're already maybe hooked. And I'm actually glad and jealous for you. But for the rest of us who don't really care too much about trains or trains through history, there may be a sense of well, I don't know if I want to play that. I think I'd rather play, something that takes place outer space or fantasy or who knows what. Like maybe you want to play like Wingspan and look at birds. I'm here to tell you that just because you're not into trains does not mean that you can't play this game. Okay. I mean, think of all the times when you were a kid, you played Monopoly. As a child, were you someone who was like, you know what I really love? Mortgages and rents. You know what I love? I love property management. I would like to play this game. No, of course not. Like, you don't have to love the thing. Okay. However, it does create a context for all of these mechanisms to work together and make a really fun game. So that's what I'm just got to say is that you don't have to love this stuff. And on top of that, what you will find is that these games are extremely vibrant and exciting. And if you look at the genre of historical trains, if that is a genre, if you look at that niche of history of the development of trains and train routes over history and say, well, that's boring. Well, I can tell you, these games are not boring at all. They're very exciting. They're very entertaining. They can be cutthroat. They can also be a pure delight. So don't let the train stuff really get in your way. 1817, do you have anything to add to that? No, that's fine. It's fine. He's on the phone with Nicole Kidman. I guess it's fine. These games have a reputation for being very heavy with a lot of rules. They have a reputation for being cutthroat. They have a reputation for having lots of feel bad moments. They have a reputation for being brutal, for being intense, for really requiring a certain mindset. In some ways, that can be true, but I'm here to tell you, no. These games are not as scary as they sound. I am going to go out on a limb and say they're not as heavy as people say. They're not as cutthroat as people say. Can they be heavy? Yes. Can they be cutthroat? Absolutely. But they don't have to be that way. Think of it as playing miniature golf. I know this is a weird comparison, but just hear me out. With miniature golf, I'm going to say that 80% of people, when they go play miniature golf, they're not taking it very seriously, but they are still out there to do well and to have fun. You go out there with your putt, you got the ball, you're trying to get around the windmill, you're trying to hit the ricochet off the wall and go that way. And when you get a hole in one, you exclaim, you're really happy. When someone knocks your ball out of the way, you're like, screw you. But, it's all jokes. It's all lulls. It's all a fun time. At the end, the thing swallows up your ball. It's over. You have a fun time. You see who won. Maybe there's a blowout. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's ice cream afterwards. But the point is, it's a fun activity. It's a fun afternoon, fun little competition. Were so happy to be with your friends in this experience that allowed for a variety of different emotions that include laughter, competition, suspense, excitement, etc. Now, you could also play miniature golf. You can go to the exact same miniature golf course with the exact same people and say, you know what? I'm playing to win. And you can go hard, and you can, every single shot, you can line up the angles. You can think of the best possible way to advance through there. And you could play super, super, super competitively. And it really is intense. And when it's over, there's a feeling of wow, I think I need a break after that. That was way more intense than I thought. So why am I bringing up these examples? Because you can play 18xx games the way you can play miniature golf. People think you can only play 18xx games at a certain level, just super competitive, super brutal, knives out. And I'll tell you, I do play it that way, and I have a huge amount of fun that way. It is great because it's really it's intense. It can feel like chess almost. It can the twists and the turns are so amazing and they can be brutal, but they can also be hilarious and they can be full of drama. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful when it operates on that level. And it most often does. But my experience is that it can also operate on the level of a casual miniature golf game where you get together with your friends. There may be some hijinks involved. There may be some cutthroat moments, but overall, people go into it with an attitude of like, I'm just happy to be here. Let's have fun. Let's pull some levers. Let's play a fun game. And when it's all done, you've had a wonderful afternoon. You could probably argue that you can play any game this way, but people really think that 18xx you can only play in a purely brutal way. Now, there will be some people who will say, well, I don't want to play with those people. Like, you know what? Like, it's a game that has brutality in it. And if people can't deal with the brutality, they shouldn't be playing it anyway. I don't want to play with them. That's fine. Don't play with them. But for some people, they may not even try it because they think there's only one type of experience to be had. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to have that experience. You can actually have a very pleasant, lovely, lighthearted time with 18xx. I know this because I've done it about 60 times, 80 times. Okay, this is how I got into it. You can get a glass of wine and play this game and have a chill, fun time with your friends. Enjoy the drama that happens. You don't take it too seriously. It's okay. And then if you want to play it in a cutthroat, like Knives Out way, do it too and enjoy it. Enjoy the bloodbath. It's great. It's visceral. It's wonderful. But just know that the 18xx genre has space for both kind of experiences, and no one should tell you that one is the wrong way to play. They are both totally valid, and if that was what was holding you back from trying these games, is that you heard that they were mean, you heard that it was just way too much, don't let that stop you. Find the right group of people who are going to be your vibe, who are going to be like your safe space, and just have fun with them and enjoy. Don't let that stop you. Okay. Math. Oh, God. When it comes to 18xx, people have a real issue with math. I hear it's mathy. That's what everyone says. It's so mathy. Oh, my God. There's like so much math on it. There is math. It's simple math. Well, the retort is always like, well, it's math, but it's simple math. It's like adding 1 + 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. It is simple math. Everyone just has to quiet down. The people who complain about math, the people who dismiss the math, everyone quiet down. The math is easy. When it's at night or you're deep into the game, your brain may not be working anymore. The math becomes very hard. Got a great solution. It's called a calculator. There's no shame in using a calculator. And the more you try to do mental math, it's like you don't have to. So either use your phone. I actually even my friend has just little plastic calculators, and I need to get some because with the phone, it's almost annoying. You always have to open it up, unlock, you have to get to it, and just have a little calculator. And I don't care if you're adding up 20 + 20 + 30, just do it on the calculator, and math, it won't be an issue. If you don't want to do math, get a calculator. You'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. There's plenty of games that have math. Don't let that stop you. There's tools to help you. And if you are like, I don't want to use a calculator, well, I mean, they're there for a reason. Use them. It totally fixes the math issue. It makes it moot. Here's one that this is probably the hardest one to argue against. But the games, 18xx games, have a reputation for being very long, and not everyone wants to play a long game. People don't want to play a game that's going to go 4 hours, let alone 6 hours, let alone 8 or 12. And some of these games can get up there. On the flip side, there are many more newer 18xx games that are shorter. And my answer to this is just play as long as you want to play. And then if it's getting too long for you, you can just stop. It's all about dipping your toes into the genre. Dip in, get those toes in that pool, because the dirty little secret is these games are so fun, you're not going to want to stop playing. You're only going to want to stop playing if you basically have to. Like, you have to stop playing. But also, you can be creative about it. Many times, my friends and I have broken up a session into multiple sessions. Like, we just left the game out. I have privilege in the sense that I don't have children who need to take over the dining room table every meal. I am able to leave a game out overnight and have people come back the next day. You can do things like that. I know that's not the most realistic thing, but that is an option. But more of an option is just, dedicate the time when the time is right. You're not going to get to play these games every single week. If you're lucky, you are. I would love to play these games every week. I would love it. But you're not going to be able to. And that's okay too. But just, if you're just getting into the genre, just play around with it. See how it feels. But here's an even better idea. Go on to 18xx.games. That is the main website where you can play 18xx games online. You can play them asynchronously over many days. Take your turns when you want to take your turns. Go back to your life. And this way you don't have to worry about the time constraints. You don't have to worry about how long it takes. And I honestly think that as you become more comfortable with the genre, as you learn the genre more, certain things will speed up. There will be other things that will slow down too, but you will like it so much that you won't care about the game length. Yeah, there's no denying it. The games are long. They're long. But the sooner you just are chill with that, then you'll be okay. But yeah, the games are long. They're long. I'm not going to lie. But save them for the weekend. And that's the thing. There are some people who are willing to play a big, long, epic game on the weekend, but then they're like, oh, but 18xx is too long. I don't know. Let me tell you something. If you're willing to sit down and binge a TV series, then you can play an 18xx game. Okay, here is the most important thing you need to know about 18xx games. If you take away one thing from this list, the number one thing you need to know about 18xx games is that you don't have to listen to any single person on how to play it. Do not walk into these games feeling intimidated that you're not going to play it right, that you're going to mess things up at the table, that you don't know the meta, you're going to be like bobbling around. No, don't worry about that. Play the game you want to play, do what feels right for you, and don't worry if some person is like, I've been playing this game for 30 years and no one does that. I know how to play. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to buy a cheap train and then an expensive train. You're supposed to put this money. You're supposed to pay out, not withhold. Supposed to. Don't be intimidated by what a bunch of people have said. Explore it on your own. Play it the way you want to play it. Enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it. And please don't be intimidated by crusty people who believe that their way to play the game is the way to play the game. Everyone has different, approaches. And unfortunately, one thing that comes in nerddom in general, whether it's board gaming or comic books or movies or whatever, is that people can just become really obnoxious about what they think the way things should be. And I'm here to say that if someone is making you feel like you don't want to play these games because they're going to yell at you or something or berate you or scold you, just pay them no mind. Who cares about them? You don't want to play with those people anyway, okay? Don't let them stop you from playing a completely vibrant and wonderful game genre. Now that I've talked about 6 things you should know about 18xx, you probably are asking, where do I start? Here are my suggestions. You can start anywhere, really. Just that some games are more advanced, have more rules, have more brutality, and you could fall into some pitfalls. Actually, what I'm going to say is you're always going to fall into pitfalls. A seasoned 18xx player will always fall into a pitfall. However, when you're new, you're really going to fall in. You just know in your first game or 2 games, you're going to mess up. Please just accept that now. So that's why if you're starting off, I recommend 18 Chesapeake or Shikoku 1889. Those 2 games have, in my estimation, the fewest pitfalls, but still pitfalls, but the fewest pitfalls for new players. Both games hail from the 1830s style of 18xx game. They will really teach you the bones of 18xx while also being very good games on their own. Okay, this is not some first level. This is not the Mario circuit in Super Mario Kart. Okay, this is not the crappy starter thing. These are still very good games. You can play both games on their own. You could be a seasoned 18xx player and have a great time with both of these games. But they're great for beginners because they really show you what the system is all about with not a whole bunch of bells and whistles. As you go deeper on your journey, you're going to find all sorts of funky things happening in these games. There'll be mergers and crazy auctions, and I don't know, one game has a volcano that goes off, one game has a rebellion in northern Canada. There's like all sorts of weird stuff that can happen. But these games just keep it really clean and simple. Now you could start with 1830, but 1830 has sort of bigger pitfalls. Like you could like wind up massively failing in a way that you might not want to come back to the genre. Whereas 18 Chesapeake especially is really designed for new people so that they can explore the system. They won't have as many feel bad moments, and they can just figure out what it's all about. So I really, 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 I really recommend 18 Chesapeake and 1889 or Shikoku 1889. Two other games that are worth noting: Railways of the Lost Atlas and 1846. Those are both often considered good games for newbies as well. I don't personally recommend them as your first game because they're different enough from like the 1830 style of game. And by the way, the reason why I keep on saying 1830 style is because that is kind of like, I told you before, that was like the main one that caused the genre to really explode. And like so many of the games are based off of that one. So it's kind of considered a sort of a style of 18XX games. Anyway, Railways Lost Atlas, 1846. They have enough variation from like the 1830 style that you may play those games and then get this idea that all 18XX games are like those two. And they're not. So I just don't recommend them as your first game because they may set an unreasonable expectation of what you would see with an 18XX game. Whereas I think with 1889 and also with Chesapeake, you're more likely to see patterns in those games that will replicate in other 18XX games. But honestly, like all four games are awesome and you'll have a great time with any of them. So I recommend those four games. There is a school of thought that you can throw people off the deep end. Be like, hey, 1817, should we pull you off the shelf and force some newbies to play you? Should we do that? There's some people who would say yes to that. 1817 is actually considered like the heaviest and hardest and craziest 18XX game. Like this is if you can play 1817, you've really earned your stripes in the world of 18XX. And I should also mention, it's my favorite 18XX game. You're welcome. You're welcome. Go tell that to Nicole Kidman. Okay. You're my favorite. But anyway, I don't recommend starting newbies in the deep end. Also, consider how you learn games. If you if someone sits you down and says these are all the rules, and then you sit there for an hour and you learn all the rules of the game, and your eyes are going to glaze over. That's not going to be how you're going to want to learn the game. I really recommend learning it piecemeal. I recommend hand-holding by the teacher and treating it like a video game tutorial. That's the best way to absorb the rules. Because again, the rules are not hard. There are a bunch of them, but if you are taught them piecemeal, there's a very logical progression of how each rule grows out of the rule before it. Go on to 18xx.games and play around and experiment and start some online games and see what works. That's what I did. And now I'm 150 games later. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for you. If you've made it this far in this video, that means that hopefully I've been making an appealing case to you, and I'm excited that you might try 18xx games, and I'm excited that you might get into this genre, and I'm excited that there may be a new player to play with, because these games are tremendous fun. They're full of drama. You'll have so many memories attached to every gameplay that you have of them. You will absolutely love them. Don't worry about the math. Don't worry about the length. Don't worry about the rules. They will all come. It will work, and you'll have a great, great, great time. So enjoy going on your 18xx journey. I hope I've been able to move the needle for you in some ways, and if not, that's okay too. But I think you'll have a great time. Thank you. But 1817, thank you so much for being here. You've been a wonderful guest. I know I've done a lot of talking, but I appreciate your insights. You've been wonderful. Bye, everyone.